guys, welcome to another video. Today, I want to talk to you guys about 10 things I wish I knew in high school. I know high school is a weird phase for a lot of us because we think we're adults and we already know everything. So I'm hoping by sharing these tips with you guys, you won't make a lot of the same mistakes that I did. My first tip for you guys would be to understand that the real world doesn't care how popular you were in high school or what team you played for. I never got to play basketball in high school, and that was something that made me bitter for a long time. Not only because I loved basketball, but also because I thought that being on the team would get me girls. I realized that unless you play in college, you're just another guy on campus when you get there. The next tip I have for you guys is to not get too high on your wins or too low on your losses. This one goes for your dating life and for school. I remember when I would get a girl's number and I would feel like I was on top of the world. And then if she left me on red, I would feel like the ugliest guy on the planet. The same thing with grades. If I did well on an exam, I would feel smart and super capable. But if I did worse than I thought, I would immediately start to think that I'm not smart and I'm just not a good test taker or student. I would also, tell myself to be a good person just because you're a good person, not to expect anything in return. A girl isn't going to be interested in you just because you're nice or just because you're a nice person. I saw this quote in high school on Twitter, and it makes more sense to me now than it did back then. It says you can't expect people to be nice to you just because you're nice to them. That's like coming face to face with a lion and expecting it to not eat you since you don't eat lions. Don't compare yourself to other people is the next tip that I have, whether it's with grades, physical appearance, or social media. For example, girls would always ask me about one of my best friends in high school and tell me about how they think he's good looking. And because of this, I feel like I would always subconsciously compare myself to him. If we both posted a picture on Instagram, it would hurt me and make me feel even more insecure if his picture got way more likes than mine. I would also tell my high school self that confidence can't be faked. It has to come from within. In high school, I would go shopping for clothes all the time. And I feel like my friends and I based our value off of what brand of clothes we wore. For example, if I had bought a new polo sweater, I would think that I was confident because I was wearing a nice sweater. But what I didn't realize is the confidence was only temporary. If I got rejected by a girl while I was, wearing that sweater, I would start to think that, maybe I need to get more clothes to restore my confidence. And my friends and I would also go to the mall and we would go up to girls and ask them who they thought was the most attractive out of all of us. Even though we thought it was fun at the time, what we also didn't realize was that it made us compare ourselves to each other, and if we won, we would feel this boost of confidence, but if we lost, our confidence would come crashing down, and out of embarrassment, we would come up with excuses as to why we didn't win. Adding on to that, I would also tell myself that rejection is a part of life. It's gonna happen. Learn to embrace it and not to take it personally. Physical attraction is subjective, and no matter how attractive you are, some girls are gonna be attracted to you and some just aren't. I realized this from talking to my friends about women. For example, there could be a celebrity like Sabrina Claudio or Rachel Demita that I think is super pretty, but my friends might not be as attracted to them. I had to learn not to take rejection personally, and that getting rejected did not mean that I was not good looking or attractive. It just meant that the girl did not find me attractive, or maybe we just didn't vibe right. An analogy I would think of is that clothes, it's the same thing. You might buy a shirt that your parents or your friends don't like, but you like it, and that's all that matters. Just because your friends or your parents don't like your shirt doesn't make it any less dope to you. You think of your physical appearance the same way. Know that you're attractive, and someone else's failure to see it doesn't make it any less true. In relation, to school, also, don't let short-term feelings have negative long-term consequences. This happens to all of us. We procrastinate, we don't feel like doing something. This, comes because we're just thinking about, the long term as opposed to thinking about studying in the short term. What we don't realize is studying a little more for that test, whether it's a standardized test like the SAT, ACT, or just a test for class. It could have a lasting long-term consequence. And overcoming that short-term feeling and focusing on the long-term consequences could make the difference in the grade you get in that class, which could impact your GPA, which could in turn also affect what schools you get accepted into. And speaking of colleges, college is expensive. At the time that I was applying to schools, I didn't think too much about the financial aspect because I was just excited to be done with high school. If I could go back and do things over again, I would have done more research into potential full ride scholarships like the Daniels Fund Scholarship. And the second to last lesson I learned is that the great J. Cole said, you can't be everything to everybody. Going through high school, I spent so much time and energy trying to get everyone to like me, and I didn't want to say anything that might make anyone upset. I think this is another reason why I would get so confused if I heard that someone didn't like me or if someone didn't respond to me. I thought that was what people wanted, a guy who would always agree with them and never argue or make them upset. What I didn't know at the time was that it made me look weak and made it super obvious that I was insecure. I had to learn that there's nothing wrong with, stating your opinion on something, even if it's unpopular. The last tip I have for you guys is to remember that social media is not the real world. Just because you see a couple posting pictures with each other looking super happy doesn't mean that that's exactly how they are in real life. Social media is essentially a snapshot of all the happy moments in life. It's just a collection of all the highs and none of the lows of life. You will rarely ever see a couple getting into an argument on social media. You will only see the good parts of their relationship. You will never see the post from someone who is upset about anything. You will mostly see the happy moments. Because of this, you should never be jealous of anyone in a relationship or just in general. based off of what you see on social media. I had to learn that someone might just follow you just because they know you, but not necessarily because they like you as a person. All right, guys, so that essentially wraps up my video on the 10 things that I wish I knew in high school. I hope you guys got some value from this video, and if you did, it would mean a lot to me if you liked the video, shared it with your friends, and subscribed to my channel. I also want to know what you guys' favorite tip was from the video. So let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.